So tell me about the typical patient that you're getting results for. What do you see on a regular day?
Well, I'll tell you recently, and I brought you the New York Times article, there's been a second pandemic of work from home injuries. A lot of patients, a lot of people have been sent home to work, and they don't exactly have the home office of their dreams, so they're improvising, and that's putting a lot of stress on their body, and we're seeing a big influx in that.
When you're talking about work from home injuries, you're not talking about people walking across their kitchen floor and falling. You mean what?
Work.
Explain it, like working from home.
Repetitive stress injury, trying to rig a desk up at the kitchen countertop, bar stools, coffee tables, things of that nature. They're still working and working lots of hours. They just are not at a traditional desk, chair, keyboard, monitor.
Why does that matter?
Posture. Very important. Sitting for long periods, as you know, as a very busy attorney, stresses the joints, stresses the muscles.
Yeah, I sit all day. I got a stand-up desk not too long ago that I can switch back and forth, and it goes up and down. And I noticed that makes a really big difference in how I feel. I don't obviously know what that means medically, but I can tell a difference in how I feel. But you're saying, so when someone's at work, they might have a desk chair. They may have a monitor that's at a better position. They have a more traditional desk. And when they go home and they're working, they might not have those things.
Right.
How important is it for someone to be aware of that as they move forward? What could happen if you're not aware of it?
I think it becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly. I mean, most of my patients I've seen have come in and they know exactly why they're there. They are trying to improvise at home, and it's just short term for a few weeks maybe, but this has turned out to be months and months of that, and the body's just doesn't handle that very well. It's just a lose-lose.
Yeah, so you're seeing people that are hunched over their laptop all day at their kitchen counter working, so their posture starts going. And so tell me, what would the ideal office setup look like then? If you're telling one of your patients, okay, what you're doing is not working. This laptop at your kitchen counter, that's not going to fly. How do you instruct them to fix that?
Well, you got to start with, what's feasible. I mean, what's actually, something that we can actually do. I mean, we know what a great setup would be, but if they can't do it, then there's no need to discuss that. You got to figure out, what do they have? What can we do? What can we improve upon? And it's not going to be perfect, but anything that's an improvement will, minimize the stress a little bit, and that's going to help.
I mentioned I got one of these stand-up desks.
I think it's great.
Are these better? Worse?
Yeah, well, I think having the option, just the option is good. I mean, some days you may want to stand, some days you want to sit, but having the option to stand is critical, I think.
Do you think it's important to change back and forth? Because it seems like too much of anything is bad, right? So if you're standing at a stand-up desk all day, you can probably develop some problems with your knees, ankles, veins.
I just saw like a bicycle desk, like basically had a bicycle pedal, and your computer sets up there and you pedal all day while you work at your computer.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've seen other ones that it's a desk that has a slow-moving treadmill underneath.
Treadmills, yeah.
So you stand at a stand-up desk with like a slow-moving treadmill. You're walking 2 miles an hour. Yeah. So you're burning calories to some degree while you're working.
So that's taking it to a whole different level. Yeah.
So what do you do? I mean, you have a pretty physical job. You're adjusting people, and you're I guess, how would you describe your adjusting style? I don't know what it would be called, but it seems like you're very hands-on.
Yeah, we're pretty hands-on. I mean, we have some assisted techniques that we use that have special tables or equipment, but typically we're mostly hands-on.
Which means you're moving all day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're moving bodies.
I don't sit down.
Is that enough exercise for you? What do you do? I mean, because you're fit. Like, what's your secret?
Well, I tell you, here recently with the gyms being closed and whatnot, I think everybody's improvising at home. So walking extra, adding some resistance with a weight vest. I know you have a weight vest also and some ankle weight. So those are good little tricks just to add a little resistance to your walk if you can't hit the weights. Push-ups with weight vest, air squats, anything.
Bands, if you can find them.
Bands, yeah, we have a pretty nice little rehab section in our office. So
I think Academy has been sold out of bands probably since March. It's hard to find that stuff right now, man. I think I just spent like $85 for a kettlebell for one. But that's how much it was. I mean, supply and demand, I guess.
Yeah, take it or leave it, right?
That's my home gym at my house is a kettlebell.
Well, I just had a gentleman who actually was using 5-gallon buckets, and he was using those.
I use water jugs here.
Yeah,
yeah, the ones that go in our water cooler, they work pretty well.
Oh yeah, those are good. I have to change the water at the office. Mm-hmm. That's my job.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Everyone's had to adjust the last several months. One thing I think traditionally, I know you have seen a lot of personal injury patients, not people that have been injured at their home office setup, but people that might have been injured due to some traumatic event like a car wreck, fall somewhere. What trends have you seen there? How has that affected your practice?
Well, I think
with COVID?
With people being home, there's just less traffic right now. I mean, there's less traffic on the road, so obviously the statistics will drop as far as collisions go. But again, it's just going to switch into something different. There's always going to be something. So I think now it's more the postural stress, which has been a big problem for a long, long time. But I think now it's really hit home. Just like some of my parents are realizing, just having kids at home doing school and how maybe they didn't quite appreciate the teachers as much as they do now. So same thing.
Are you seeing more? I think they call it. I've seen articles, cell phone neck, where people text neck or something. And I can imagine, they say cell phone usage is at an all-time high because everyone's at home. And to be fair, we're kind of coming out of that a little bit. People are getting back to work. I mean, our office is open again, but it's nothing like how it was back in February. But have you been seeing more of that? And can you kind of describe what that means?
Well, we've never had a generation of people growing up with their heads slung down. And basically that's what we have now. I mean, your kids, they're on tablets. They're, always on something that's typically going to have their head down. People work on laptops, which, without an external keyboard or mouse or some type of setup, it's going to be the same. But yeah, I mean, and haven't had a generation of kids growing up with their head, constantly down as they develop. So it's already starting to see some problems with that.
When you say problem, what does that mean? Is that permanent? Is that something you can fix or adjust? Does this affect somebody for the rest of their life? Like, how bad is this diagnosis? When someone comes in and you say, okay, you have text neck, and I'm sure there's more medical terms for that, but in colloquial terms, I guess that's what we'll call it. Is that something you could fix?
Yeah, I think we can typically make them aware of the situation and give them some, good alternatives to their setup. But over time, that really leads to degenerative breakdown that's premature, and then that can lead to irreversible damage that just, once it's done, which could lead to, more drastic medical interventions such as surgery.
So part of the solution is the more conservative treatment that you would offer, the chiropractic care.
Step one is just realizing.
Well, as awareness.
Right.
And maybe don't do this all day. And are there exercises or stretches or anything that somebody should do to compensate for that in the meantime?
Yeah, I think just taking a break. I mean, I like to start with just what's quick, cheap, and easy. I mean, that's typically my approach is what's quick, what's cheap, what's easy. Let's start there, and we build from that point. Some people want to jump into very expensive, rehab protocols or whatnot, but, just take a break. Get up, move around, stop, make any modifications to your work environment you can.